I think most people don't realize how much scientists actually use data from citizen science. And I'm not necessarily talking about the exciting discoveries we hear about, like a new beetle genera discovered or spotting a snowy owl way farther south than where it should be. We use this data for a bunch of things. We use it in invasion ecology, in community ecology, functional ecology, and of course, conservation biology. Everything from tracking how a plant shifts its phenology and flowering time in response to climate change, to an at-risk species assessment, to mapping global biodiversity hotspots. Paired with artificial intelligence, it can be even more powerful. We could use it more, but one of the problems is it's just too different to how scientists traditionally collect data. When scientists collect data, it's methodical, stratified, very robust, but also expensive and slow. When the broader public collects data, it's less structured, less intentional, but much faster and flexible, and it works.
Hi folks, my name is Dr. Brian Starzomski from the University of Victoria. I'm a committed INATer and I'm working with the Blitz the Gap group to collect more biodiversity observations all across Canada. In particular, I'm co-lead with Dr. John Reynolds of Simon Fraser University, the program called the BC Biodiversity Program, where we hire young naturalists to travel around in the best job in the world, all over British Columbia to BC parks collecting biodiversity observations. We found new species for BC, new species for Canada, and even new species to science, just using the iNaturalist app, which is a really wonderful contribution, a real team effort to better understanding biodiversity.
There's been more data collected in the past few years than in the past century. But there are still huge gaps remaining in our data sets. Canada has about a quarter of the world's remaining intact ecosystems, also has one of the highest rates of climate change in the world, and we don't understand how this will impact species or the ecosystems that provide our water, timber resources. So we created Blitz the Gap to merge the power of citizen science with the needs of scientists. And this is definitely possible given the enthusiasm out there and the small changes needed. Maybe it's going to a different hiking trail. Maybe it's taking a picture of a plant when you're really interested in a butterfly. It doesn't mean traversing hundreds of kilometers of difficult terrain, although if you're inclined to do that, that would be amazing. If I've learned anything since living in Canada, it's that Canadians will not be kept from the outdoors. It can be an icy, muddy mix on the ground, sky filled with mosquitoes, and people will still be at the park. It's incredible. So let's take that energy out to nature and blitz the gap this summer.